Beloved, let us love one another, for love is of God. And everyone who loves is born of God and knows God. He who does not love does not know God, for God is love. If God so loved us, we also ought to love one another. 1 John 4 verses 7-8 and verse 11. 1 Corinthians 13 verses 4-7 beautifully describes this kind of love. Love suffers long and is kind. Love does not envy. Love does not parade itself, is not puffed up, does not behave rudely, does not seek its own, is not provoked, thinks no evil, does not rejoice in iniquity, but rejoices in the truth, bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. David and Jonathan's story showcases godly love through their selfless loyalty and deep friendship, even in adversity, reflecting the love God desires for humanity.
In the land of Israel there lived a young shepherd boy named David. David was brave and loved by many, especially after he defeated the giant Goliath. King Saul, the ruler of Israel, took David into his palace, and there David met Jonathan, Saul's son. Jonathan was immediately drawn to David because of his courage and goodness. The Bible says, Jonathan became one in spirit with David, and he loved him as himself. They became the best of friends, bound by their faith in God and their mutual respect. And Jonathan took off the robe that was on him and gave it to David, with his armor, even to his sword, and his bow and his belt. So David went out wherever Saul sent him and behaved wisely. And Saul set him over the men of war, and he was accepted in the sight of all the people, and also in the sight of Saul's servants. Now it had happened as they were coming home, when David was returning from the slaughter of the Philistine, that the women had come out of all the cities of Israel, singing and dancing to meet King Saul, with tambourines, with joy, and with musical instruments. So the women sang as they danced, and said,
Saul has slain his thousands, and David his 10,000s.
Then Saul was very angry, and the saying displeased him, and he said,
They have ascribed to David 10,000s, and to me they have ascribed only thousands. Now, what more can he have but the kingdom?
So Saul eyed David from that day forward. Now Saul spoke to Jonathan his son, and to all his servants, that they should kill David. But Jonathan, Saul's son, delighted greatly in David. So Jonathan told David, saying,
My father plans to harm you, David. You must be careful. Please be on your guard until morning, and stay in a secret place and hide. And I will go out and stand beside my father in the field where you are, and I will speak with my father about you. Then what I observe, I will tell you.
Thus Jonathan spoke well of David to Saul his father, and said to him,
Let not the king sin against his servant, against David, because he has not sinned against you, and because his works have been very good toward you. For he took his life in his hands and killed the Philistine, and the Lord brought about a great deliverance for all Israel. You saw it and rejoiced. Why then will you sin against innocent blood to kill David without a cause?
So Saul heeded the voice of Jonathan, and Saul swore,
As the Lord lives, he shall not be killed.
Then Jonathan called David, and Jonathan told him all these things. So Jonathan brought David to Saul, and he was in his presence as in times past. And there was war again. And David went out and fought with the Philistines, and struck them with a mighty blow, and they fled from him. Now the distressing spirit from the Lord came upon Saul, as he sat in his house with his spear in his hand. And David was playing music with his hand. Then Saul sought to pin David to the wall with the spear.
I will pin David to the wall.
But he slipped away from Saul's presence, and he drove the spear into the wall. So David fled, and escaped that night. Now Saul was afraid of David, because the Lord was with him, but had departed from Saul. Therefore Saul removed him from his presence, and made him his captain over 1,000. And he went out and came in before the people. And David behaved wisely in all his ways, and the Lord was with him. Therefore, when Saul saw that he behaved very wisely, he was afraid of him. But all Israel and Judah loved David, because he went out and came in before them. Then Saul said to David,
"Here is my older daughter Merab. I will give her to you as a wife. Only be valiant for me and fight the Lord's battles."
For Saul thought,
"Let my hand not be against him, but let the hand of the Philistines be against him."
David said to Saul,
Who am I, and what is my life or my father's family in Israel, that I should be son-in-law to the king?
"You shall be my son-in-law today."
But it happened at the time when Merab, Saul's daughter, should have been given to David, that she was given to Adriel the Maholathite as a wife. Now Michal, Saul's daughter, loved David. And they told Saul, and the thing pleased him. So Saul said,
"I will give her to him, that she may be a snare to him, and that the hand of the Philistines may be against him."
Therefore Saul said to David a second time,
"You shall be my son-in-law today."
and Saul commanded his servants,
Communicate with David secretly and say, "Look, the king has delight in you, and all his servants love you. Now therefore become the king's son-in-law."
So Saul's servants spoke those words in the hearing of David. And David said,
Does it seem to you a light thing to be a king's son-in-law, seeing I am a poor and lightly esteemed man?
And the servants of Saul told him, saying,
In this manner David spoke.
Thus you shall say to David, "The king does not desire any dowry, but 100 foreskins of the Philistines, to take vengeance on the king's enemies."
But Saul thought to make David fall by the hand of the Philistines. So when his servants told David these words, it pleased David well to become the king's son-in-law. Now the days had not expired. Therefore David arose and went, he and his men, and killed 200 men of the Philistines. And David brought their foreskins, and they gave them in full count to the king, that he might become the king's son-in-law. Then Saul gave him Michal, his daughter, as a wife. Thus Saul saw and knew that the Lord was with David, and that Michal, Saul's daughter, loved him. And Saul was still more afraid of David. So Saul became David's enemy continually. Then the princes of the Philistines went out to war. And so it was, whenever they went out, that David behaved more wisely than all the servants of Saul. Saul also sent messengers to David's house to watch him and to kill him in the morning. And Michal, David's wife, told him, saying,
"If you do not save your life tonight, tomorrow you will be killed."
So Michal let David down through a window, and he went and fled and escaped. And Michal took an image and laid it in the bed, put a cover of goat's hair for his head, and covered it with clothes. So when Saul sent messengers to take David, she said,
"He is sick."
Then Saul sent the messengers back to see David, saying,
"Bring him up to me in the bed, that I may kill him."
And when the messengers had come in, there was the image in the bed, with a cover of goat's hair for his head. Then Saul said to Michal,
"Why have you deceived me like this, and sent my enemy away, so that he has escaped?"
He said to me, "Let me go. Why should I kill you?"
So David fled and escaped, and went to Samuel at Ramah, and told him all that Saul had done to him. Then David fled from Naioth in Ramah, and went and said to Jonathan,
What have I done? What is my iniquity, and what is my sin before your father, that he seeks my life?
So Jonathan said to him,
By no means, you shall not die. Indeed, my father will do nothing either great or small without first telling me. And why should my father hide this thing from me? It is not so.
Then David took an oath again, and said,
Your father certainly knows that I have found favor in your eyes, and he has said, Do not let Jonathan know this, lest he be grieved. But truly, as the Lord lives and as your soul lives, there is but a step between me and death.
So Jonathan said to David,
Whatever you yourself desire, I will do it for you.
and David said to Jonathan,
Indeed, tomorrow is the new moon, and I should not fail to sit with the king to eat. But let me go, that I may hide in the field until the third day at evening. If your father misses me at all, then say, David earnestly asked permission of me that he might run over to Bethlehem, his city, for there is a yearly sacrifice there for all the family. If he says thus, it is well, your servant will be safe. But if he is very angry, be sure that evil is determined by him. Therefore, you shall deal kindly with your servant, for you have brought your servant into a covenant of the Lord with you. Nevertheless, if there is iniquity in me, kill me yourself, for why should you bring me to your father? Who will tell me, or what if your father answers you roughly?
Far be it from you. For if I knew certainly that evil was determined by my father to come upon you, then would I not tell you?
So Jonathan made a covenant with the house of David, saying,
Let us go out into the field. The Lord God of Israel is witness. When I have sounded out my father sometime tomorrow or the third day. And indeed there is good toward David, and I do not send to you and tell you, May the Lord do so and much more to Jonathan. But if it pleases my father to do you evil, then I will report it to you and send you away, that you may go in safety. And the Lord be with you as he has been with my father. And you shall not only show me the kindness of the Lord while I still live, that I may not die, but you shall not cut off your kindness from my house forever. No, not when the Lord has cut off every one of the enemies of David from the face of the earth. Let the Lord require it at the hand of David's enemies.
Now Jonathan again caused David to vow, because he loved him, for he loved him as he loved his own soul. Then Jonathan said to David,
Tomorrow is the new moon, and you will be missed, because your seat will be empty. And when you have stayed 3 days, go down quickly and come to the place where you hid on the day of the deed, and remain by the stone Ezel. Then I will shoot 3 arrows to the side, as though I shot at a target. And there I will send a lad, saying, Go, find the arrows. If I expressly say to the lad, Look, the arrows are on this side of you, get them and come. Then, as the Lord lives, there is safety for you and no harm. But if I say thus to the young man, Look, the arrows are beyond you, go your way, for the Lord has sent you away. And as for the matter which you and I have spoken of, indeed the Lord be between you and me forever.
Then David hid in the field, and when the new moon had come, the king sat down to eat the feast. Now the king sat on his seat, as at other times, on a seat by the wall. And Jonathan arose, and Abner sat by Saul's side, but David's place was empty. Nevertheless, Saul did not say anything that day, for he thought,
Something has happened to him. He is unclean. Surely he is unclean.
and it happened the next day, the second day of the month, that David's place was empty. And Saul said to Jonathan his son,
Why has the son of Jesse not come to eat, either yesterday or today?
And Jonathan answered Saul his father, and said to him,
David earnestly asked permission of me to go to Bethlehem. And he said, Please let me go, for our family has a sacrifice in the city, and my brother has commanded me to be there. And now, if I have found favor in your eyes, please let me get away and see my brothers. Therefore he has not come to the king's table.
Then Saul's anger was aroused against Jonathan, and he said to him,
You son of a perverse, rebellious woman, do I not know that you have chosen the son of Jesse to your own shame and to the shame of your mother's nakedness? For as long as the son of Jesse lives on the earth, you shall not be established, nor your kingdom. Now therefore, send and bring him to me, for he shall surely die.
Why should he be killed? What has he done?
Then Saul cast a spear at him to kill him, by which Jonathan knew that it was determined by his father to kill David. So Jonathan arose from the table in fierce anger, and ate no food the second day of the month, for he was grieved for David, because his father had treated him shamefully. And so it was, in the morning, that Jonathan went out into the field at the time appointed with David, and a little lad was with him. As the lad ran, he shot an arrow beyond him. When the lad had come to the place where the arrow was which Jonathan had shot, Jonathan cried out, after the lad, and said,
Now run, find the arrows which I shoot.
So Jonathan's lad gathered up the arrows and came back to his master.
Is not the arrow beyond you?
But the lad did not know anything.
Make haste, hurry, do not delay.
Only Jonathan and David knew of the matter. Then Jonathan gave his weapons to his lad and said to him,
Go, carry them to the city.
As soon as the lad had gone, David arose from a place toward the south, fell on his face to the ground, and bowed down 3 times. And they kissed one another, and they wept together, but David more so. Then Jonathan said to David,
Go in peace, since we have both sworn in the name of the Lord, saying, May the Lord be between you and me, and between your descendants and my descendants, forever.
So he arose and departed, and Jonathan went into the city.
David and Jonathan were best friends who always stuck together. They trusted and loved each other a lot, even when things got really tough and dangerous. Their friendship shows how important it is to have true friends who stand by you no matter what. The Bible says, "A man who has friends must himself be friendly, but there is a friend who sticks closer than a brother." Proverbs 18:24. It also mentions, "A friend loves at all times, and a brother is born for adversity." Friendship like that of David and Jonathan teaches us to always be loyal and supportive. True friends stick with us through tough times and are special treasures in our lives. Remember to cherish and nurture these friendships, and always try to be the best friend you can be. Let's explore a brief summary of key events. 1. Covenant of friendship. Jonathan, recognizing David's valor and godliness, formed a deep bond with him. They made a covenant of friendship, and Jonathan gave David his robe, armor, sword, bow, and belt as a token of his loyalty. 1 Samuel 18:1-4. 2. Saul's jealousy. King Saul, Jonathan's father, grew increasingly jealous of David's popularity and success, seeing him as a threat to his throne. Despite his father's animosity, Jonathan remained loyal to David. 1 Samuel 18:6-16. 3. Secret communication. Jonathan helped David avoid his father's wrath. In one notable event, they devised a secret signal involving arrows to warn David of Saul's intentions. 1 Samuel 20:18-42. Fourth final meeting. Despite the danger, David and Jonathan met one last time in the wilderness of Ziph. Jonathan reassured David that he would one day be king, and that their covenant would extend to their descendants. 1 Samuel 23:16-18. 5. Tragic end. Jonathan's story ends tragically when he died alongside his father, Saul, in a battle against the Philistines. David mourned deeply for Jonathan, expressing his grief in a heartfelt lament. 2 Samuel 1:25-26.
Now that you've heard the story of David and Jonathan, let's have some fun with these activities. Activity 1, paper cup walkie-talkies. Materials needed, 2 paper cups, a long piece of string, the tip of a pencil. Poke a small hole in the bottom of each cup using the pencil. Thread the string through the holes and tie knots to keep it in place. Decorate the cups with drawings and colors. Now, you can talk to each other through your homemade walkie-talkies. Activity 2, message in a bottle. Materials needed, small plastic bottles, paper markers, ribbons. Write messages or draw pictures on pieces of paper. Roll up the papers and place them inside the bottles. Decorate the bottles with ribbons, paint, or stickers. Exchange the bottles with friends as a fun way to send messages. David and Jonathan's story truly inspires. A genuine friendship endures forever, reaching beyond the stars. Cherish godly friendships and strive to be the best friend possible. Thank you for tuning in. Talk to you again soon. Thanks for watching. Like, share, and subscribe.